1, 2, and go. What do you mean?
You want to get into the memes that we...
All right, yeah. So we had an idea of a format here where we would each pick a meme that we really like and explain it to y'all.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay, this meme is going to be... Because we just talked about some of the simpler memes. This one...
So this is one of my favorite memes. First of all, anyone who knows memes, this is Lost, okay? I'm about to talk about Lost.
But let me just say,
if you would rather die than hear Lost about another fucking thing about Lost, then turn it off and come back when David starts talking. But anyway, what were you saying?
But I didn't know about, I'm supposed to be... This is the thing about memes. There's so many, and they're so prolific. You're like, oh, this Lost, of course. And I'm like, I had not heard about it.
Yeah. My favorite memes are the ones that are redone more and more and more abstractly.
Alternate name for the podcast. My favorite memeber. My favorite murderer is real pause.
No.
My favorite memeber. I can't quite do it.
No, I don't like my favorite murderer anymore. Nope.
Okay.
So the...
See, you love it now.
No. We're not doing it. My favorite memes are the ones that have devolved to the point of, you can literally have one completely abstract image and everyone who's in on the joke immediately knows what it is. And this was the first meme like that I was, part of the journey. You know?
So you were around very early on.
No, not very, very early on, but I was around early on enough that I saw them before they turned into basically, pictograms. Anyway, so this is one of those memes that's like that, and so let's take them through it, shall we?
Let's go through it, because this blew my mind when I found out about it.
Back in the early days, there was a webcomic named Tim Buckley, and he had a webcomic called Control-Alt-Delete. Have you heard of him before?
I had heard of Control-Alt-Delete as a comic before. Okay.
And he had a very formulaic thing where he had 4 panels. The drawings were not very good. And the humor was pretty hacky. But,
I chuckled at a few of them.
Yeah, it's chuckle. Whatever.
Although someone pointed out, I thought I had seen it before, and then someone pointed out, oh, this is very derivative of Penny Arcade. And I'm like, that's why I thought I'd seen this before.
Yeah. So he was not a particularly beloved online webcomic.
People hated this dude.
Yes, people loved to hate him. So that's how this started. He became almost a caricature of the shitty webcomic where people, not that he didn't have fans, he obviously did, but there was people who just loved hating on him. I'm just going to read a quote from
Please do.
This is a quote that someone wrote about Tim Buckley, just to give you an idea of the level of hatred that people had for him. Being produced by renowned douchebag, plagiarist, and attention whore Tim Buckley, it is known throughout the webcomics community and the wider internet community for being amongst the gayest shit that was ever shat.
Now, not that we're condoning using gay as a pejorative. Is pejorative the right word?
That is, yeah.
But that's also a very mean, funny thing to say.
Oh my god. I didn't even read the next sentence. It is widely regarded as a masturbatory.
Don't think I'm cutting that out, because I'm not cutting that out.
Oh god. Anyway, masturbatory wish fulfillment fantasy for Tim. People
the guy's jerking off and writing this comic.
Yes. Well, so who likes to destroy people on the internet more than 4chan?
No one.
No, I hope I don't need, most people know who 4chan is. I'm not going to go that deep on 4chan because that could be an entire podcast just talking about fucking 4chan.
But maybe some of the audience listening to this podcast will be grandmas who are like, I want to understand why Dylan laughs at that T-frog.
You know what? You're right. That's probably going to be our listening audience. People already know what the memes are going to listen to us blunder through them.
Oh, maybe they will, though. I'm saying we could get... It might be 40, 60.
All right, so 4chan...
Just a brief.
Okay. 4chan started off as a message board. Actually, I've just had to look this up. It started off as an anime message board, which is surprising
that I knew.
To me.
I'd heard that, yeah.
I did not know that. And if I wanted to give, like, a really short description, I would call it, like, it's like Reddit if Reddit was the bar in Star Wars A New Hope, where it's, like, nowhere in the universe, a cesspool of scum and villainy.
Yes. It is kind of a cesspool of scum and villainy.
But also fun. There's cool music and cool aliens, but it's also a cesspool of scum and villainy,
Yeah, it's just extreme, I would say. It's very, like, people are out there, which also leads to brilliance and, like, amazing, great things. It's where Anonymous started. Were you going to bring that?
Rick rolling, that came from 4chan, which...
It all depends on what you consider cool.
But also, it is known for being the most trolliest of trolly places that exist. Yeah. And like, I don't mean like, like I put a rude comment on my auntie's Facebook post. Like, I mean like swatting people. I don't know if people know about swatting. Swatting is when you call in a false crime to a police department and you have a SWAT team show up at someone's house that you hate, and people have died from being shot by the SWAT team. It's the alt-right has found a nice little home there.
Which is funny because it started out more like super lefty.
Well, it started off as, I feel like it's kind of like the way that libertarians are. Like, when you when you find out someone's libertarian, you can make certain assumptions about things that they believe in, but I find libertarians do the whole range of the social spectrum. You know what I mean? From, like, super racist, crazy fuckers to, like, really lefty, like, weed smokers. Like, it doesn't... You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think that's exactly right. And 4chan is right. That is exactly that thing where it's like everyone is just an extreme, crazy, Wild West.
No holds bar. And so you get all sorts of both terrible and wonderful things that come out of it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cesspool of scum and villainy.
Yes.
The reason I bring up that this came out of 4chan is because you need to know why someone would be so cruel to do what they did to Tim Buckley.
Yeah, it's like this thing where people are kind of, like, annoying and asking for it, and then you're like, well, we should, like, burn them with a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Like, well, this person is just annoying.
Alright, so we're going off on so many tangents just to explain this thing. So Tim Buckley, back to Tim Buckley, he has a comic called Control-Alt-Delete. It's not very good. People love to hate it. The comic is mostly, about video game culture and stupid video game jokes. He, one day, probably because he went through a traumatic experience, put out a 4-panel comic called Loss. The first panel is the main character of his comic, which is pretty much him.
Him, yeah. We all assume it's him.
Yes. Bursting through a door into an emergency room. The second comic is him standing at a counter, and there's a woman behind the counter. So there's two people standing in the picture.
Right.
And he's talking to the woman behind the counter. Third panel, he's talking to a doctor, and they both have very concerned look on their faces. There's still no,
Yeah.
And then the fourth panel, he walks in, he's in a room, a hospital room, and a woman is lying prone on the bed, and he's standing over her, and she looks real sad, and he looks real sorry for her, and it's called Loss.
And there's no dialogue in this one.
No dialogue.
Now, up till now, it's been a humor comic.
Yes. This came out of, there was no, this is, no. So what happened was...
And he included a description with it, right?
I actually don't think he did.
Oh, okay.
But, I could be wrong. But...
I thought he included a blog post that was like, this horrible thing happened.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. So it's about his wife having a miscarriage.
Okay.
It's very heavy.
Yes, that's a very heavy subject for a webcomic.
It's a very heavy subject for anyone, and, he probably thought, I'm an artist and I need to express my feelings, and, so he made this heartbreaking, 4-panel comic about walking in and finding his wife and feeling helpless. He looks so helpless.
Yeah.
But the internet be the internet.
Yeah. And 4chan being 4chan. Mr. Buckley, we're very sorry for your loss and what happened to you since then, but we gotta talk about it because it's also insane.
So, things went wild. It started with people just making fun of it, and then it has become... And then people replacing the... Okay, how do I even describe...
Okay,
So
level one is people are just making fun of this because it's so funny, and they're turning it in... I say it's so funny. It's a horrible thing to have happen, but then things get weird.
So, we talked about how all memes have a formula, right? So, sometimes the formula is joke, but that's none of my business. And sometimes the formula is like, joke, and then the baby with the fish. In this case, the formula was 4 panels. One with an upright figure, a la the guy walking to the hospital. Right. 2 with 2 upright figures, him and the woman at the desk. Sometimes the woman's a little shorter. 3, 2 people, or 2 figures standing next to each other, him and the doctor. Right. And then 4, 1 standing up and 1 prone. Right. Him and the wife. Right. And that was enough of a formula for a huge amount of creativity. Amazing. I'm just going to pull up a couple.
You would see people put up a 4-panel meme where it's like 2 French fries next to each other, and then 1 French fry taller than the other French fry, and then 2 more French fries, and then 1 French fry vertical and 1 French fry horizontal. And you were given to understand that was making fun of loss.
There's one where someone has taken the states of the United States and found states that kind of line up, like, the bodies, and, like, shaded in, like, alright, these 2 states next to each other, these 2 states, and then said that was going to be, like, the voting of 2020 or something. It's people have taken it to so many levels.
Yeah. So now it's just, it's basically almost become like a symbol where it's just like 2 lines.
1 line, 2 lines, 2 lines, 1 line up, 1 line down.
Yeah. So like,
you don't even have to say anything anymore. No, the beauty of it is that like, I could literally take a notebook and draw a handful of lines on them and take a picture of it and put it on the internet, and hundreds of thousands of people would know what I was talking about.
Yeah. That's
insane to me.
It's very insane.
Like, that's the beauty of memes, and that's why it's one of my favorite memes, because it's meaningless and yet full of meaning.
Yeah. It's one of the weirdest memes I know of, because it's taken the most abstract that I think I've seen any meme get.
Yeah.
It looks just like a bit of, like, writing, or, like, an ancient, like, it's so weird. It's super weird.
We will put pictures somewhere for you guys to see.
And can we talk about, is this loss? ? Where people, like, also, like, there's pictures that are not.
Right.
Do not have anything to do with loss.
Oh my god, yeah, it has gone to a whole nother level. Alright, so there's lots of things out there that aren't loss, but maybe follow something that looks sort of similar. Yeah. And so, is this loss has become a catchphrase, its own meme, where, like, you can use tag groups, or you can post them in your, like, subreddits, and everything is loss and not loss at this point.
It's such a hard thing to talk about, because it's so ethereal.
Yeah.
And, like, so, let's say you're at home, and you're shaving, and your hairs fall on the floor.
Yes.
And you take a picture of your hairs on the floor, and they're just at, like, the right spacing and angle that you're like, is this loss?
My favorite one was what is it?
I feel like this is not going to make the cut.
No, it's not. I'm just trying to get the names. Who's the guy with the droopy eye?
Oh, Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. And then,
well, that I might put in just to make you look like a mean person.
And then who's the name of Denzel Washington? Okay.
Who is the name of Denzel Washington?
So, one of my favorite...
I'm turning that into a meme. What's the name of Denzel Washington?
Motherfucker. Alright. No, I'm mixing up the next person whose name I have to remember. Who says motherfucker all the time?
Samuel L.
Jackson. Okay, that's why. Sorry, I was confused because I tried to remember his name. Okay, so there's a version of Lost where first image is Samuel L. Jackson wearing an eye patch.
Oh, so one.
Second image is Denzel Washington just looking hot.
Oh,
third image,
that's two.
Two eyes. Yes, the 2 eyes is what you're supposed to get at. Third image is Will Smith just looking hot. Again, two eyes. Yeah. And then fourth image is Forrest Whitaker.
It's Forrest Whitaker because he has that one, like...
He had both of his eyes open, but one is like that.
Oh, man. I feel like that's wrong, but also, like, it's very clever.
Whatever, come on. Like, he doesn't know he has a wonky eye. I mean, whatever.
He knows.
He knows. He does. Whatever. He's making all the money. It's only mean to punch down. Forrest Whitaker is a fucking acclaimed actor with all the money.
He's a very good actor with one wonky eye.
One wonky eye.
But he knows that. Forrest Whitaker, you're great. You're never going to hear this.
But... You're wonderful.
So now you can kind of see the, like, extreme, like, how loss has become to me And I didn't know about it till you told me about it. But to me, it's become nothing to do with Tim Buckley or his comic. Just more like, isn't it weird that you can find these shapes, like, randomly?
But it all started off with a bunch of mean people on 4chan making fun of a guy who lost a child.
Yeah, that's true. So, I'm glad we started with that one, because it just really shows, like, how weird memes are, how they evolve.
Yes.
Like, it's a good encapsulation of, like, what a weird format, like, they are.
Alright, so that's my lost bit. We'll put some pictures up at somewhere for you to look at.
Yeah,
and, now, what meme would you want to tell me about?
Alright.
Four-Bay Justice. Faith off every lid.